Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to sunny Portsmouth Square, Chinatown's living room.
好，歡迎大家今日嚟到咧我哋嘅華埠嘅客廳啦，我哋嘅花園角。
Today we're here to announce an incredible milestone in the pathway to eliminating SRO family homelessness, a milestone that could only be achieved by leadership and by collaboration. And I think that that's the thing that's going to make this city work, right?
今日咧好開心，大家嚟到咧我哋花園角慶祝我哋一個好成功嘅一個成績啦，就係因為咧我哋好多嘅散房家庭咧喺華埠度居住啦，而且咧由我哋嘅市府啦、市長啦同埋我哋嘅帶領之下咧，咁啊嚟到今日咧要宣佈呢個結果俾大家聽啊。
Now let's start with leadership. First of all, political leadership is critical to moving the ball forward in this city, and we want to really thank the mayor and we want to thank the Board of Supervisors for working together politically to sustain these programs because it's taken about 5 years for us to get to this point, and that could not be done in isolation. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
咁首先咧，一定要多謝咧我哋嘅市長啦，我哋嘅市長布里德啦，咁喺佢嘅帶領之下咧，我哋喺呢5年入邊咧得到咗呢個成功。
But we also want to thank our city departments and the leaders from our city departments for the collaboration that they've done in getting this program to where it is. We want to give a big thank you to the Housing Authority led by Tanya Letaju and chaired, the commission chaired by Joaquin Torres. Thanks for coming out today. We want to give a big thank you to the Mayor's Office of Housing, Eric Shaw. And of course, we want to thank the Department of Building Inspection, who in many ways built the foundation for this program over the long term.
咁另外咧，仲有我哋市入邊嘅各個部門啦，我哋嘅合作啦，包括市長辦公室入邊嘅所有入邊嘅職員啦，咁同埋咧就仲有呢個民居局嘅行政主任啦 Tanya 啦，咁咧就仲有我哋嘅市長辦公室入邊嘅行政主任啦，咁啊仲有咧就係我哋嘅古籍官啦，同埋民居局嘅委員會主任啦，咁咧佢哋嘅帶領之下咧，咁我哋咧就得到呢個成功嘅。
And last but not least, and this is critical, we know that nothing in this city, nothing in America can't happen without people who are pushing. And so mainly I want to acknowledge the role that the SRO families themselves have played in lifting up their stories and being constantly vigilant in pushing these programs forward. So a big round of applause to the SRO families themselves.
咁咧，除此之外咧，就仲有我哋嘅散房家庭團結會啦。咁啊喺我哋身後邊，大家見到啦。咁啊，希望大家俾啲掌聲佢哋啦。
Now, what milestones are we talking about? So first of all, let me just give a little bit of context. Going into the pandemic, we had estimated about 500 families living in single-room occupancy hotels, right? And these are families with children. These are 80-square-foot rooms with no private kitchen, no private bathroom. This is not an environment where children should be raised. And for a lot of SRO families, this is the only option they have when they start in San Francisco. So that sets the context. The program itself was a combination of portable vouchers and project-based vouchers issued by the Housing Authority and the ongoing deep rental subsidy program that's administered by the Mayor's Office of Housing. And in between those two, we were able to move 187 SRO families out of homelessness from 2019 until 2023. That's incredible.
好。咁咧，而家咧就講下我哋嘅里程碑做咗啲乜嘢啦。咁咧，大家知道咧，華埠入邊嘅散房咧，佢係最高峰嘅時期咧，其實大約有500個家庭嘅。咁咧，佢哋咧都係住喺一個要同人共用廚房、廁所嘅空間入邊啦，而且咧嗰個尺數亦都好細啦。咁啊，可能得80至100尺咁樣。咁咧，佢哋喺呢一個大家嘅市府啊，同埋呢個家庭團結會嘅帶領之下啦，咁啊加埋咧呢個民居局嘅合作啦，咁我哋咧攞到好多唔同嘅一啲券，大8段房屋券啦，咁啊包括係一啲補助金啦，只係需要俾收入30%嘅補助金啦，或者係搬嚟一個散房家庭咁啊去一啲公屋嗰度咁樣嘅。
And not to get competitive here, but sorry, Eric. The Housing Authority was responsible for 133 out of the 187 move-outs. So just putting that down, laying a marker, and maybe a little friendly competition could even up it more.
咁啱啱咧 Malcolm 就話其實咧喺2019年至2023年咧加埋咧，包括咧有187個家庭咧已經由佢哋嘅散房咧搬離開咗咁去到一個佢哋嘅呢個 Sweet Home 啊，佢哋嘅夢想入邊嘅家咁樣。
So, in terms of data, and we have some printouts for press if you'd like it later, because this will get confusing, I'm sure. Between 2019 and 2023, this program has reduced SRO family homelessness by 37%. So we've gone from basically, 500 to almost 220, 230 right now. About 40% of which was done by these programs. 16% was done by families themselves looking for options during the pandemic at a time when it was hard to live in an SRO. But I think what's more incredible is by June of 2024, we're projecting another 76 families moving out, which will mean that this program alone will have cut SRO family homelessness in half by June of 2024. That's incredible. That's advancement. That's progress. And with that said, oh wait, I guess Rachel has.
Oh yeah, it's okay. So 咁咧，佢啱啱就話咧，其實咧由呢個2019年啦至到2023年咧，已經下降咗36個百分比㗎啦。咁即係話咧，其實係大約咧係500個家庭啦，咁就下降到咧去220個啦，到230個家庭左右嘅。咁咧有40%即係40%入邊咧，其實係由呢一個計劃咧去幫手嘅。咁而咧就有66成咧就係由家庭自己咧喺呢一個疫情期間啦，咁佢哋去搬出咗嘅。咁呢一個計劃咧，亦都係嚟緊2024年嘅6月之前咧，我哋咧期望入邊咧係可以幫多70個家庭搬走嘅。咁其實咧可以見到咧係超過一半嘅數目咧，都係由呢一個嘅計劃去幫手嘅。
Thank you. And with that said, I'm going to hand it over to our city's leader, Mayor London Breed.
咁而家咧就請我哋嘅市長布里德講兩句。
Well, first of all, I want to thank Malcolm and I want to thank the SRO Collaborative for all the amazing work that they continue to do to ensure that families, our seniors, and so many folks who are in our low-income communities have safe and affordable places to call home. And I thought you were going to interpret me, Mason. And I want to just take us back a little bit because this did not happen easily. This happened because President Biden, when he was first elected, he made the best decision to appoint HUD Secretary Marcia Fudge. And HUD Secretary Marcia Fudge used to not only serve in Congress, but she used to be a mayor. And she came to me and asked, well, what can we do to help San Francisco? What can we do to help with the challenging situation around affordability? And I said, we need flexible vouchers. We need options to help get people off the streets, to help get families moved into something more permanent and sustainable. And she said, not only done, but she made it happen for the last couple of years, which has been extremely remarkable in helping us to not only support these families, but to support so many people, so many individually homeless people even, get off the streets and directly into housing. And let me tell you, it has everything to do with the incredible work of Tanya Letiju and the San Francisco Housing Authority under the president leadership, Joaquin Torres. And I cannot thank you enough for all the amazing, extraordinary work that you have done to get people housed and to keep them housed. And so why are we here today? I met with Malcolm a couple of weeks ago from CCDC, and he told me that, Mayor, I couldn't believe he was all excited, because usually most people, when they meet with me, they're complaining about something, they're asking for something, they're upset about conditions or what have you. But he said, this is something that I've never experienced for the time that I've been at CCDC. I've never seen anything happen of this significance. The fact that we were able to, with our project-based Section 8 vouchers, with our housing subsidies that he and the collaborative fought for the Mayor's Office of Housing, how we were able to take all of these resources and dramatically reduce the population of families who were in crowded, cramped conditions in SROs in Chinatown was something that he and I think most people have not seen before. And what I appreciate most about just highlighting this experience is it shines a light on these people. It shines a light on these families who are living in these conditions, who are not complaining, who tend to find SROs affordable and as one of the first places that they're able to live in community and be a part of the community, but more importantly, what they can afford. And the fact that we are able to work together to provide better living conditions, provide support, not just maintain our SROs, but to help transition people into more space that gives people dignity and the ability to, not have to share a kitchen or not have to go down the hall to use the bathroom and have your own bathroom where you can leave your items. There is nothing like that. And for those of you who have it, it's something we take for granted. When it doesn't exist, it is really tough and very challenging. So this is significant because of the number. And by the end of the fiscal year, we expect to reduce that 500 number that Malcolm talked about even more and reduce that to 140 families, which we hope to hopefully get to 0, so that we can ensure that folks have a way to live in dignity, that they have pride in their living conditions, that they can participate in their community and not work around their living conditions, not make decisions around who's going to use the bathroom today or this hour, or who's going to use the kitchen and is there a kitchen, and what am I going to do with this stuff and that stuff. The stuff that people go through to adjust to their living environment makes their life less productive in some ways, the ability for kids to study for their homework and all the different things, again, that so many people take for granted. So this is a big deal. It's a big deal because we all work together. Our city agencies stepped up, our community partners stepped up, and they made magic happen. So I am grateful, I am excited, and I'm looking forward to this work continuing. But let's be clear, this work does not continue without making sure that we have people who want to work with us to make it happen. And the fact that we have, and I want to reiterate, that we have a president and we have a HUD secretary that I have a direct relationship with has everything to do with why we were able to make this possible. It has been extraordinary, and I am looking forward to doing even more work to continue the progress we've made and to help get families into living conditions where they can live good and thriving lives that truly represent San Francisco's values at their best. So thank you all so much for being here today.
布里德市長提到好高興亦都感謝楊仲賢啦，同埋散訪家庭聯合會咁耐以嚟嘅合作啦。咁亦都提到係因為散訪家庭聯合會嘅工作啦，同埋一齊嘅合作啦，令到好多家庭啦同埋長者亦都得到可負擔房屋啦，同埋一啲係應有嘅服務嘅。咁亦都提到佢好深明呢啲工作亦都係唔容易嘅。咁佢提到咁拜登總統當時上任嗰陣時咁佢亦都係有一個聯邦嘅房屋委員會同佢討論點樣可以幫到三藩市咁佢當時亦都係同佢講三藩市需要一啲係房屋券啦，同埋一啲唔同嘅服務嘅。咁佢亦都係咁耐以嚟咁亦都係咁佢亦都提到咁因為佢同呢個聯邦房屋局有一個好好嘅合作關係咁佢亦都會繼續去爭取更多嘅資助嘅。咁佢亦都提到2個星期之前同楊仲賢係嚟到去傾偈嗰陣時咁佢見到佢好開心因為佢楊仲賢提到係咁耐以嚟華協中心嗰陣時亦都係冇見過一個咁大嘅呢個散訪家庭數目嘅跌幅嘅。咁佢亦都係提到將會係希望係同各位繼續合作嚟到去係令到係三藩市有更多可負擔房屋去幫助到家庭啦，同埋令到佢哋一個係適合嘅生活嘅，亦都係一個舒適嘅生活嘅。多謝各位。
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a true San Francisco success story. All right, next up, we have somebody that needs no introductions in this part of town for sure, but also somebody who's intimately familiar with this issue, having been district supervisor here since 2000, with some interlopers in between, but we'll forgive them. The president of the Board of Supervisors, Aaron Peskin.
而家咧就有請我哋市參事會主席布里市參事會主席佩芝金，咁亦都係我哋嘅市參事第3區嘅市參事。
Thank you, Malcolm. To the SRO families behind me, Mayor Breed, to the Housing Authority, Dr. Letta Ju, and to the president of that body, Joaquin Torres, to the head of the Mayor's Office of Housing, Eric Shaw. This has been a priority of this community and this supervisor for many, many years. And it is important every once in a while to take a moment and acknowledge that we did something right and we got something done and we worked together, and this is that moment. The mayor thanked, and appropriately so, many of the individuals and institutions, including the United States government, that helped bring this so far. But we also need to acknowledge that a light was shined on this, and that light was shined by the media. And I want to actually thank and acknowledge Han Lee for the stories that he did in February of this year that made the case for what a supervisor and a mayor know. A single resident occupancy room is a small room that is adequate housing for one person, but absolutely inadequate for a family with children. And when Han wrote that story, and the mother in that story said through tears that she felt like she was a bad mother because she was raising her children in that 200 square foot room, that had an impact on this government. And it was a reminder that we needed to speed it up. We were already moving in the right direction, but that was a reminder that we needed to get those vouchers out the door. And those vouchers, because of the process, are hard to get out the door. And so I want to acknowledge that were it not for CCDC staff, and I'm talking about Juan Garcia, we would not have been able to help these individuals apply appropriately. Many of them had applied in the past, but those became stale and they needed to reapply. So I want to thank and acknowledge CCDC and Juan and his team. And this is not just a Chinatown phenomenon. This is not just a Chinese population phenomenon. This applies to multiple races, multiple ethnicities in multiple neighborhoods. So it's not only about Chinatown. This has brought relief and a quality of life to people in the Tenderloin and in the Mission. So this is of citywide import. And I want to say that, as Malcolm said and as the mayor acknowledged, the role of the SRO collaboratives is also critical. And by the way, that is, I think the last time I stood with these people in this square is when they were standing up for funding for the SRO collaboratives. And I said at that time, it was not a want to have, it was a need to have. And that gets me to my last point, and sorry, Calvin, because you're going to have to translate all of this, which is this situation doesn't get cured once. This is a perennial, forever commitment, because there are always going to be poor families who are always going to have to be transitioned out in this very expensive town. So we've got to keep the program going. We've got to have portable vouchers. We have to continue those efforts in our appropriations, at the Mayor's Office of Housing, at the Housing Authority. Our job has only just begun. But I am very proud. We should be very thankful. Thank you, Mayor Breed. Thank you to the various departments, and particular thanks to CCDC and the SRO collaboratives.
咁啊，市參事貝斯金咧講到咧，即係佢喺三藩市代表三藩市同埋華埠咁耐以來啦，散訪家庭咧居住嘅問題咧，其實係佢嘅重要首置嘅問題，佢要解決嘅。咁佢有好多唔同嘅組織咧都要多謝啦。首先咧要多謝咧我哋嘅媒體啦。其實咧幾個月前咧就好想多謝李含佢寫咗一個咧喺好特別嘅新聞報章，就講到咧散訪家庭裏邊咧嘅問題啦，特別咧係為唔係就係三藩市華埠，只係三藩市全市咧知道咧華埠散訪裏邊嘅問題咧， 仲會講到咧散房有一個媽媽即係講到自己好似住喺散房，令到小朋友冇一個好嘅居住環境咧。呢個問題咧即係感到咧令到我哋各界而家就座咁多位咧嘅市府嘅機構咧都好關注呢個呢一個嘅問題。咁所以我哋咧就今日咧就宣布咧我哋合力咧唔同嘅各界做嘅成績出嚟啦。咁跟住咧就要多謝咧華協啦，咁因為咧華協咧同埋社區唔同嘅非牟利機構咧係幫助散房家庭去申請咧唔同嘅房屋嘅計劃嘅。咁冇咗佢哋資助咧同埋支持咧，我哋嘅散房家庭都可能未必咧知道點樣去申請所有嘅計劃。咁跟住咧就我哋要多謝我哋市府唔同嘅機構啦，佢哋合力咧係得到呢一個嘅團結嘅方案啦，令到我哋咧唔同嘅居民咧可以好快盡快今年內咧得到咧房屋嘅資助㗎。咁仲有啦，後面咁多位啦，我哋嘅散房團結嘅組啦，其實佢哋咧喺一路以嚟咧都係好支持好幫助大家咧去市府咧去請求咧唔同嘅計劃嘅。咁得到佢哋後面嘅資助咧，我哋市府先可以咧得到呢個提醒，知道我哋要更快去做呢個問題。咁最後咧就史三次佩斯咁就講到啦，好緊要嘅咧就係我哋市府唔同嘅各界咧都要咧去繼續咧去支持房屋呢個問題嘅。咁我哋要喺資助之外咧，仲要咧係諗到唔同嘅方法咧去繼續咧延遲咧我哋今日宣布嘅成就。咁好多謝大家今日嚟呢個。
Thank you, President Peskin. Thank you, Calvin. And we will now introduce two families who have benefited from this program, but who have also fought from this program. And I'll bring them up together so you can hear their stories firsthand and how this program has impacted them. I want to call up, Yan Fen Lee and Yan Yu Lin.
OK， 咁而家咧就請我哋兩個咧取得大8段房屋券嘅前散房家庭啦，李艷芬啦同埋林艷玉出嚟講一講，咁俾你哋見一見。
大家好，我叫李艷芬，我一家3代咧，以前住喺華埠嘅散房。我非常感謝市長和市參市及民居局支持2022年財政預算中關於第8段房屋券發放給散房家庭。我家庭啦很幸運啦，得到呢張房屋券，現在搬到生活環境咧比散房好很多嘅公寓。我家庭收入咧很極低，無法支付市面上嘅以前無法支付市面上嘅房租。以前我一家3代咧只能租住華埠不足10平方嘅散房，空間非常狹窄，連書台咧地方都冇。我兒子平常趴喺床上邊做作業，因為呢個散房咧1層20戶，共用一個廚房啦、廁所、浴室，每日都要排隊等候。我兒子放學到屋企啦，都要餓到很晚才能食上飯。而家有咗大8段房屋券，我家庭啦可以租俾以前散房生活環境好嘅房子，有自己嘅廁所啦、廚房啦。我兒子有自己嘅房間書桌，每天放學回到屋企啦都有熱氣騰騰嘅熱飯。現在我家庭很快樂幸福。我再一次感謝市長市參市實施散房家庭第8段房屋券計劃。我知道還要好多住喺華埠嘅散房家庭非常需要房屋券。我希望市長市參市繼續支持更多嘅大份房屋券發放俾散房家庭，改善佢哋嘅住房環境。多謝。
Hello everyone, my name is Yan Fan Lee, and our 3-generation family used to live in an SRO in Chinatown. I'm very grateful for the support of San Francisco Housing Authority, Mayor Breed, and Supervisor Peskin for allocating Section 8 vouchers for the SRO families. My family was fortunate to receive a Section 8 voucher, and we are now moved to an apartment with much better living conditions than our previous SRO. As a family with extremely low income, we couldn't afford the expensive rent. Previously, our three-generation family could only rent an SRO unit in Chinatown that was less than 100 square feet. The space was extremely cramped and with no room for a desk, and my son had to do his homework while lying on the bed. We all had to share one kitchen and toilet and bathroom for every 20 households on our floor. And we had to wait in line every day. When my son returned from school, he often had to wait until very late to have a meal. Now, with the Section 8 housing voucher, my family can finally live in a space with our own toilet and kitchen. My son has his own room with a desk, and he can now enjoy a hot meal as soon as he returns from school. This housing opportunity has changed our lives, and I will be forever grateful for it. I would like to thank the San Francisco Housing Authority, Mayor Breed, and Supervisor Peskin for their support of SRO families. I know that there are still many SRO families in Chinatown who are in need of this housing voucher. Please continue to support SRO families to improve their living conditions and help them move out of SROs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi，大家好，我叫林艷玉，我好慶幸啦，今年4月份我取得咗第8段嘅房屋券，而且喺6月份嘅時候呢，就搬離咗個得100尺嘅散房，就搬入咗又寬敞啦又舒適嘅2房嘅apartment嘅。咁我女好高興啦，佢就有咗自己嘅房啦，有咗自己嘅書枱啦。咁而且咧，我哋就唔再需要等上廁所啦，等沖涼啦，甚至要等嗰個爐頭煮飯嘅。可以講得我哋喺10年來喺美國過得最好嘅生活係而家㗎。所以我今日嘅美好生活咧，前嚟有市長有房管局啦，同埋華協中心嘅積極嘅推動同埋支持嘅。所以在此我衷心感謝市長、房管局嘅領導同埋華協中心嘅所有職員所以咧即係好似我咁慶幸可以得到房屋券嘅散房家庭係屬於少數嚟嘅。咁有更加多嘅散房家庭咧生活喺水深火熱之中㗎，可以咁講㗎。咁咧，所以我希望市長啦。房管局啦，同埋華協中心能夠繼續推動同埋支持將更多嘅房屋券發放到喺散房家庭中來。多謝大家。
Hello everyone, my name is Yan Yulin, and I want to express my immense gratitude for the Section 8 voucher I received in April, which allowed my family to move out of our cramped SRO, which is only 100 feet square. Now my daughter has her own room and desk, and we no longer have to endure long waits for the bathroom, shower, and stove. After being in America for 10 years, this is the first time we've experienced dignified living conditions. The improved quality of life for my family wouldn't have been possible without the unwavering support of San Francisco Housing Authority, Mayor Breed, CCDC, and Supervisor Peskin. While my family has been fortunate, there are still many SRO families enduring extremely poor living conditions. And I sincerely hope that more SRO families can receive housing vouchers in the future, allowing them to move to better living conditions. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, I was talking to the mayor just now, and she was reminding me the role that the federal government and Biden has played. She's mentioned that. But she also mentioned to me that it doesn't stop here. She is going to continue to fight for more vouchers so we can have more success and get this number down to 0 as soon as we possibly can. 0.
好，咁啱啱咧，楊生咧佢就同咗市長傾偈啦，佢就話啱啱提到咧，我哋嘅總統拜登啦，咁同埋聯邦政府啦，咁佢就話佢咧期望咧將來咧可以將我哋嘅散房家庭咧可以咧降低到係最後咧係完全冇散房家庭喺呢個華埠度嘅，咁希望大家繼續支持。
Thank you. And now, Last but certainly not least, I want to introduce the leader who is leading the department that is leading this fight in moving SRO family homelessness to zero, 133 to 54. The director of the Housing Authority, Tanya Ledaju。
最後咧，我哋就想請我哋另外一個好重要嘅人物啦，咁係三藩市民居局嘅行政主任啦 Tanya 啦，咁啊請佢講幾句。
Good afternoon, everyone. It really is truly a pleasure to be here. This is really a great celebration, and it is extremely important. And I will tell you, as the CEO of the Housing Authority, as we have done this work, everything that we do, everything that I do it with community in mind. This is extremely important to not just the mayor, our supervisor, our president, Joaquin Torres, who is behind me, but it is important to the staff at the Housing Authority as well. And as we continue to move this train forward, it is our goal, as the mayor has said, that we will get to zero. And we continue to work with HUD. We continue to work with our field office in this work in finding ways to house individuals in our city, in our county. And we are working each and every day to determine how we can move the bureaucracy, the different things that we must do to assist each and every family, and finding ways to better operationalize how we go about our work each and every day. And so, with that said, I would tell you that this work would not be possible without the city's vast resources that came together with the single intention of housing families with minor children living in SROs and providing more than just adequate spaces, but a space that you can call your own, a space that you call home, a place where you can find a space for everything that you need for your personal belongings, and a place that you can gather together and feel safe and do the things that you need to do as a family, ensuring that our children are able to study so that they continue to move forward in life. And I want to thank you. I want to thank the SRO Collaborative, and that includes CCDC, for sitting down with the Housing Authority, working with us, working with me to define a clear pathway to what we have done today. And so we definitely have a clear pathway of how to ensure SRO families are supported, not only with a housing subsidy, but with supportive services as well. Not only during the process, but way after the process. So I'd like to thank you, CCDC, for your collaboration and your continued partnership. And this year alone, we will be placing about $5 million annually for the subsidies that have been provided. And again, as Mayor Breed has said through Malcolm, we will get to zero. And I'd like to say that several years ago when I came to the Housing Authority, we were in trouble. We were in shortfall. We were in default. We could not issue one voucher without permission from HUD. And I'd like to say today, because we are not in shortfall, because we are no longer in default with our contracts with HUD, this is one of the reasons why we have been able to do this work. And I am committed that our agency remains moving forward, that we remain in a fiscal sound state so that we can continue to collaborate with all of our city partners, with our mayor, moving her housing initiative forward so families in SROs, families throughout the city and county of San Francisco can continue to be housed. And I'd like to thank Mayor Breed for all of her leadership, for all of her support, and I'd like to thank her for the opportunity to lead this agency. And I'd like to thank our board president, Joaquin Torres, for all of his support. Without his support, the work that I do would not be possible. So I would like to thank you, Joaquin, and the commissioners on my board. I'd like to thank Eric who is my colleague in housing. And I'd like to thank my Chief of Staff, Andrea, for all the work, Andrea Brust, for all the work that she does with me and just the leading and guiding. Without this team, without our mayor, without our supervisor, this work is not possible. It takes all of us to do this work. So I want to just thank you. And lastly, I want to thank you, SRO Families United Collaborative. I want to thank you as families for the work that you do, the support that you give, the fight that you're doing. And I want you to know that we're not ignoring the conditions. We understand the conditions, and we are working hard to move things forward. So you are not forgotten. You are forever in my thoughts. Each and every day, I have hundreds of emails and different things that come, and I'm quite aware of the housing needs that are needed in this city, and I am committed to this work. Thank you. So I'd like to say this definitely has been a long journey, but I'm thankful that we have been able to make good on the commitment that had been made before the Housing Authority went into default. So again, thank you all for all of your hard work.
OK， 咁咧剛剛咧我就聽到我哋嘅三藩市民居局嘅行政主任咧，佢講咧，佢有幾樣嘢咧要多謝大家啦。咁其實咧佢就話咧，佢啱啱嚟到嘅時候咧，其實佢覺得咧呢個係一個好困難嘅事嚟嘅。咁咧佢就話剛剛入嚟嘅時候咧，其實佢連一張券咧都攞唔到嘅。咁但係咧即係透過佢嘅努力之下咧，其實佢同呢個聯邦政府嗰邊傾咗啦。咁而且咧都想去繼續幫大家。佢一路以嚟咧都係記住大家嘅呢個困難嘅，佢冇忘記到即係我哋嘅呢啲省房嘅居民啦，或者低收入嘅居民啦，其實佢都知道呢一樣嘢係好困難嘅。咁所以咧希望咧將來咧一路咧都會帶領大家咧繼續去行啦，繼續可以幫助大家咧，唔係淨止係攞到嗰個房咁簡單啦，而且係咧有一啲呢一個社區入邊嘅服務咧去提供俾大家嘅。咁咧希望咧將來咧就可以做到咧達到成個華埠入邊咧係或者成個三藩市入邊咧係一個省房家庭都冇嘅。咁咧希望咧亦都想多謝大家唔同嘅單位啦，包括市長啦，包括我哋古籍官郭建華啦，包括我哋嘅華協中心啦。華協中心咧，我哋同佢開咗一個會啦，咁而且個會入邊咧，亦都提及到呢一個好清晰嘅目標咧，就係希望我哋嘅省房家庭咧可以完全消失喺呢個華埠入邊嘅。咁另外咧，亦都係想多謝佢嘅同事啦，佢哋今日都有嚟到嘅。咁最後咧就仲有我哋身後嘅華埠省房團結會啦。咁佢想話俾你聽咧，佢咧係唔會無視大家嘅要求嘅，佢咧係一路都記住喺個心入邊啦，而且咧你永遠咧都會即係阿 Tanya 話佢永遠咧都會繼續為社區服務咁，希望大家咧堅持落去啦，咁加我哋全部人嘅努力之下咧，咁取得今日嘅成功啦，咁喺呢度多謝各位。